Fintech has given rise to a new industry. Okay, before the COVID came into being, Fintech industry has been growing at a rate of about 45% per annum, compounded. So it's a very fast-paced growing industry, and there is a lot of opportunities in fintech for businesses as well as employment. And as we can see right now, even during the COVID crisis in Malaysia, a lot of fintech companies are recruiting people. All right, companies like Grab, companies like Boost, companies like MoneySave, funding societies, they are all recruiting a lot of people. Unfortunately, most of these companies employ expatriates from China, from India. You'll be surprised that a lot of fintech companies are based in Malaysia. You can go to KL Central, for example. A lot of fintech companies are there, Cyberjaya, but they employ a lot of foreigners because our students are not prepared from an industrial point of view to be able to handle, to hit the ground running with what they have studied in university. We need to address this. It's just a gap. It's just a gap in the last mile, that if we can close this gap, then we can have a lot of employment in this area. So, what exactly is fintech? Fintech is the application of computer and telecommunications to create innovative financial solutions. Is it a new industry, fintech? Some people say yes, fintech is a new industry. In my opinion, it's not a new industry, because computers and telecommunications have been used to create new and new financial solutions since a long time ago. We already had a computerized stock exchange back in the 1990s. We have ATM machines. We have electronic banking a long time ago. It's just a new buzzword to me. It's just a new name. However, there are differences between fintech, between the computerization a long time ago and the computerization now, due to the use of a few new component technologies. Okay, like for instance, right now artificial intelligence and big data is being used a lot in fintech. Before, we don't use a lot of AI and a lot of statistics to run banking software, for example. In the banking sector, we have something called the capital adequacy ratio. There is a fixed formula, almost a rule of thumb, that every bank has to compute in order to submit to Bank Negara on a monthly basis, whether the bank is still liquid enough to operate as a bank. So they do some calculations, and then there's some fixed formula that's supposed to be magical and should tell you if the bank is liquid or not liquid. But AI can do that, can do a better job at that, because AI can be dynamic. AI can be not a once a month calculation. AI can be to the minute calculation using big data and all those technologies. And AI can respond to market situations where the rule of thumb does not apply anymore. For example, in facing the COVID crisis, we have bank moratoriums, which did not exist before. And how does the bank moratorium going to affect the banking society? If you use AI, you can do a lot of predictive analytics, and you can also grow your knowledge as the AI learns. And where else, if you use fixed formulas, you won't have that. So this is fintech. Fintech is the use of computers plus telecoms to create innovative financial solutions, which to me has been a while. There are a lot of fintech companies nowadays, because the bottom here it says, in short, if you have ever wondered why some aspect of your financial life was so unpleasant, what's so unpleasant about financial life? You go to the bank, you want to apply for a loan, it takes a lot of work, going up and down, preparing documents, talking to this officer, talking to the manager over there. It's not a very pleasant experience, right? Or sometimes the bank offer you some sort of a package, but that package does not fit into what you need. This is especially felt by small and medium scale industries, okay? Because the loans that they are offered does not meet their precise financing requirements in terms of grace period, for example, or maybe you can change the interest rate depending on their payment performance, and also their capital. I mean their the balance at risk, and a few other factors. You can actually tailor make financial packages for businesses. Using AI and big data, this can be automated. You don't have to have officers going through all this. So, because of that, because of the unpleasantness of dealing with financial institutions traditionally, a lot of new fintech companies have come up, like Grab, right? Boost, Touch and Go, a few others, because they allow you to do things that the banks make it difficult for you to do. Okay, so what are the banks doing about this? Okay, it is a fallacy. It is untrue for us to think that the fintech companies are big and the fintech companies have a domination over the economy or over the financial world. Because big banks like JP Morgan, DBS, Singapore, for example, Deutsche Bank, they are also spending a lot on fintech. Like JP Morgan is spending 5 billion USD this year to develop their fintech solutions. Now, JP Morgan, in a very strange twist of a strategy, they are now aiming for youngsters, like people like UiTM students. And they make it trendy for youngsters to use their solutions. So that's why JP Morgan is really strong in fintech. Okay. So this is fintech in short. Okay. Fintech applies computer and telecoms to create innovative financial solutions, which is not anything new. People have been doing this a long, long time ago. Okay. What are the areas of applications? Now, I want to emphasize first of all that fintech comprise of two words: financial technology. The key component of fintech is the financial part. The technology supports the financial game. Okay, I will elaborate later on what is meant by the financial game. This is very important, the financial game. But first of all, let us look at where fintech is being applied. Let's say we were to concentrate on small and medium scale enterprises. So look at the leaves here in the middle of this diagram, the blue colored leaves. These are some of the sectors that fintech aims to cover. Small and medium scale enterprises, okay? From Makcik Kia all the way up to maybe factory with a turnover of 10 million a year or something like that. Another one is cooperatives. Cooperatives can use a lot of fintech. At the moment, it's very underutilized in a lot of cooperatives. There's 14,000 cooperatives in Malaysia. The 100 top cooperatives are really, really big. Bank Rakyat, for example, Koperasi Tentera, those sort of people. Bank Persatuan. And they are not yet using fintech in a very aggressive way. So all these are opportunities for ITM to conduct training, to help the community to make this digital transformation, because I'm sure you know as well as everybody else that the world now has changed with COVID. People say the world is worse with COVID than before, which I do not agree with, because if you look at the Dow Jones index a few days back, the Dow Jones index is the main index on New York Stock Exchange, and the Dow Jones index dropped by 35% during the early days of COVID. Now, a few days ago, the Dow Jones index hit 30,000. A history in the making. Never before the Dow Jones hit 30,000. So where is there an economic downturn? Okay. Some sectors are growing up, especially the digital sector. So we need to help our nation to cross this ravine called the digital transformation. And looking at your presentation just now, I think that UiTM has the talents to do this and has the platform also to do this. And UiTM, as much as other universities, because UiTM is a big university, UiTM can take the lead in doing this without waiting for the government to take the initiative. And I urge UiTM to actually take the lead to do this, because our people need this digital transformation. The statistic department predicted that 40% of our people have lost their income or are not making enough as before. 40% of the population, which is a whole lot of people and a whole lot of families. So I see UiTM taking the lead in this area if UiTM is interested. Okay, so we have SME, cooperative, SOHOs. What are SOHOs? SOHOs are home office, like freelancers, for example. We see a lot of people nowadays becoming freelancers. You see a lot of pilots driving Grab. A lot of businessmen carrying Grab food, for example, sending Grab deliveries. So everybody is moving towards the gig economy out of necessity. One of the reasons why it becomes necessary for us to do all this, because we don't have that very strong digital transformation in place. Okay, where else companies like Apple, for example, grew from a $1 trillion company 3 years ago or last year into a $2 trillion company within the space of 1 year. I mean, how old is Apple? Apple is like a 30, 40-year-old company. And it took 30 or 40 years for Apple to become a $1 trillion company. But it took Apple only 1 year to become a $2 trillion company. Okay. Look at Alibaba, for example. Alibaba has Alipay. Okay. They are set to launch the biggest IPO ever in the world history until the Chinese government stopped them. You look at TikTok, for example. Quite a few other examples where these companies are running fintech. Okay. Another one is WeChat. Okay, WeChat is by N. The name of the company is Ant. Ant as in semut. No, WeChat is WeChat is Tencent company. N is Alibaba. So WeChat is also a huge fintech player. Okay, nobody wants to be a telco. I'm sure Alibaba can be a telco if they want to. If not in China, in some other country. WeChat can also be a telco. They don't want to be a telco. They want to be a fintech company. Okay. So Soho is one of the gig economies. Soho is gig economy, one of the sector that you can aim to do fintech. Then there's a sector called the underbank, which in Malaysia is not a lot because most of the people in Malaysia already has a bank account. But we have the underinsured sector in Malaysia. A lot of people are not insured in Malaysia, especially the B40s, because they cannot afford to throw away money premium that does not bring immediate benefit to them. And there are solutions that you can offer to these underinsured people so that they are covered in terms of risk in case something happens to, say, for example, the breadwinner. Then we have the micro SMEs. There are about million SMEs in the country, of which about 80% are micro SMEs. Traders, gerai makan, that sort of people. People who sell on the internet. And there are also the millennials, the new young generation that wants to do things in their own way. So these are all market that you can sell to with fintech solutions, except that you have to find what to sell to them. This is the game that you have to create. Okay. Okay. Examples, for example, okay. In this sector, there are immigrant sector. So you can create a fintech solution that caters only to the needs of the immigrants. Focus. You don't have to cover the entire market. You don't have to win everybody. You just focus on one particular sector. Say expatriates. You know, there's a lot of Koreans in Malaysia. There's a lot of Middle Eastern in Malaysia. A lot of Chinese as well. Chinese. So you can just create fintech solutions that cater for these kind of people. Students, ITM, for example, has an e-wallet, which ITM has teamed up with, if I'm not mistaken, Keeper Pay. Settle, Settle is running on the Keeper Pay platform. So student is one sector. Retirees is another sector. Retirees are people with money because they have EPF, they have all their lifetime savings and all that. Women is another sector. You can come up with fintech solution only for women, And you can have traders, startup companies, manufacturers, farmers, which is very important to us because farmers is the main player in our food chain, and freelancers. Now, what kind of solution? This is the market. What kind of solutions can you offer to the market? Okay, these are fintech solutions. One type of fintech solution is called payments, remittance, and foreign currencies. These are the companies that deliver to you payment solution, so that you can transfer money from one place to another. Okay, so that involves making payments. That involves sending money, remittances, and that also may involve converting currency from one currency to another. And you bundle this one up into a particular type of solution called payments, remittance, and foreign currencies. Paytech. Then the next one is e-wallets, okay? And micro transfers. Micro transfers means you transfer small amount of money using your e-wallet. Okay. The third one is lending. Okay. It's called LendTech, where you can use fintech solutions to lend money to people. For example, okay, there is a company called MoneySave. MoneySave does crowdfunding. They get the funding from anywhere, anyone in the market, and they lend the money back to someone who needs the money. The same thing with another company called Funding Societies. They also do the same. And there are quite a few others as well in the market. So how did they manage to penetrate this market is by creating a solution, put it on the phone, and then people will start using it. Okay. Then there's another class called Investec. This is where you collect investments from the crowd investment using fintech solutions, right? You can, for example, create, let's say, mudarabah sukuk bonds, and you can list them and you can put them on the exchange, and then you can use Investec technologies to do that. And then the next one is WealthTech. WealthTech is the overall umbrella of all fintech because it helps you to manage your wealth. For example, using WealthTech, you can create an application for your UiTM students to teach them about monetary literacy so that they learn how to use money. And you can help them to plan their life ahead until they are retired. Okay, at this point in life, what are your goals and what you want to do? Okay, when you are 30, maybe you get married. You have different goals, different things that you want to do. 40 different things, 50 different things, 60 different things. So using wealth tech, you can manage a person's wealth over his or her entire lifetime using fintech. Then there's InsurTech. InsurTech is where you use fintech technology to deliver insurance and risk management solutions to people. Okay. And we have something called RegTech, regulatory and forensic. Why is it called RegTech? Because there's so much or too many transactions nowadays that it's impossible for human beings to monitor each and every one of them. And it's also so big that it's pointless for you to select a sample because your sample will be too big. Even if you're doing sampling, your sample will be too big for you to handle. So instead of that, people are using AI, using big data, using predictive analytics to conduct regulatory and forensic operations. For example, you want to know whether someone has a potential of being involved in money laundering. So you use all this technology to isolate people who has that sort of a tendency. And finally, we have the digital currencies. Okay, the cryptocurrencies, the tokens, the smart contracts, another area of solutions. So these are the areas of solutions where you can use fintech. I recap in the middle of the diagram can be your target markets. Okay, maybe it'd be a good idea for you not to try and address all needs and satisfy all customers. Instead, you can focus on specific areas like students or retirees or women, something like that. In the middle is your market. On the outer side is the solution that you can create for the market. Okay. Now, how do you create solutions for the market? You have to know your market very well. For example, you have to know retirees, their spending patterns, their inclinations very well so that you can create a fintech solution specifically for the retirees and retirees will love it. Okay. So how do you do that is you look at the outside circle, the payment, the e-wallet, the lending, the Investec and all that, and you rojak all these particular technologies into popular solutions that people want. Okay. Let's say, for example, you're doing fintech for women. So how do women spend, for example? Okay, there'll be working women who has their own financial means, and there are also women who depends on their husbands because they are housewives or they are not earning enough. So how do you use fintech solutions to this? Maybe you can create e-wallet that has multiple wallet. You create one account with your e-wallet company. Under that account, you can have multiple wallets. So a husband can have a wife wallet there and a wife can have the husband wallet linked together and easy for you to interchange your money. Or you can set aside wallet. For example, there's a wallet for groceries. So you set aside 3,000 ringgit into your grocery account every month. And you just use that to buy grocery. And then something else for entertainment. So you can aside. It's just like budgeting, but you use your wallet to budget your spending. So this is how you create a game. And it's very important for you to create games in order to win at this fintech field. You cannot sell technology in fintech because there's too many solutions looking for a problem from a technology perspective. There's too many fintech solutions coming out of India, coming out of China, coming out of Ukraine, and they claim that it's very good. They may not be as good as they claim, but a lot of them are claiming that they're very good. So if you play the technology game, you're going to fight with too many people. What you need to do is you need to create these games that capture your captive market. Say for example, women. So you sell fintech solution that cater for the needs of women. So what are the needs of women? They need to go to shopping. They want to look at new clothes or new shoes, especially or new makeup or rejuvenation, that sort of stuff. So you want to put all this together into a package for women. You can have a spa package tied down to your fintech package. If your account is active over like how much activity, you have the free gift of going to a spa, for example, or free membership if you are big enough. That is creating games. Now, this is one area where UiTM can actually help because you have your leadership and you have your school of business as well. You can train Malaysians to think of coming out with these games because there's a lot of lacking in terms of our ideas in Malaysia. If you belong to any cooperative, for example, almost every cooperative is talking about let's do agriculture. Why do agriculture? Because they saw some TikTok punya video showing that this boy became a millionaire because he planted pineapple. Or that guy over there planted papaya and he became a millionaire. So everybody wants to do papaya and do pineapple. It's so uncreative. We have to bring our society up to become a creative society. Come up with new solutions. Win over the market. Create games that people like. Okay? So, you have to, UiTM can play that major role of teaching people to how to create new games. I hope you guys are still listening. I know I can be very boring and I also feel very sleepy when I listen to myself. Thank you, thank you. I want to give you an example though, how to create a game, okay? I can't see you, but can any of you who has no money in the bank at all, zero money in the bank, can you say I? Huh? Anybody got no money at all in the bank? Yeah, yeah, still have money in the bank, right? Zero money in the bank. You put your money under the mattress ke, or inside a Milo tin ke, ada tak? A different account, but then you still have money in the bank, right? Okay. Anybody who has $1 million in the bank, 1 million ringgit, please say I. Okay. What I want to say is this. Let's say you start a new bank. I want to give you an example of a game. No? Let's say you start a new bank, a digital bank or a fintech company or whatever. Okay. And then you tell people, okay, I don't care about your CITOS or secrets anymore. You see? You see, there's a big sector there of people yang bank don't want to lend, which is bad for the people and also bad for the bank because it creates an opportunity for someone else who's willing to lend to them. Say, yes, I'm willing to lend to you because a lot of people who suffer from CITOS secrets are actually good businessmen. But because of unfortunate circumstances, kena tipu, main con tak bayar, all those sort of things, they land themselves under this kind of situation. But they are good and they should be given a second chance. And then they become a good market though for you to sell. Because people don't want to sell to them. Hey, that's good, man. My competitors don't want to sell to you. Come to me. You know? So you can use AI, for example. And you can tell them, look, man, I'll do this for you. Okay, you can call this brothers, for example, your bank's brother. Hello, bro. Those people don't want you. Come to me. And then you say, it's like this lah, bro. Okay? You keep your money with me for 3 months. You spend your money using my e-wallet. Okay? I want to see your pattern. I want to see when you receive your salary. Or if you're a contractor, how you receive your money on the daily basis, on the weekly basis, how much. So you have 3 months of track record. Okay? I can predict already when you need money. You don't have to ask me for a loan. Because your account is with me, I can draw a graph. Okay? You are going to be pokai in the next 5 days. And you are going to get your money back, katakan another 1 week. I know you always get 10,000, 20,000. You are running a renovation business. I can see that happening. But I know from your account, you are going to run out of cash in 5 days using AI. And then what do? I send a notification to you. You don't have to ask me. I send a notification to you and I tell you, hey bro, you know or not, you're going to be pokai, 3 days time. Hey, don't worry. I am here to help you. Okay? I give you a loan. Interest free. I am not a ulama, but if interest free, I think it's Sharia compliant. Interest free. I give you a loan. Okay? You want the loan? You just click yes. You click yes, immediately the money goes into your account. Your account with me lah. Your account with me. Huh? Something like that. Factoring ada invoice kan? You have to have an invoice. This one you don't have to have an invoice. I look at your track record. But you can also create the same game with invoicing. Pun boleh juga. For example, you can have katakan without invoice, I give you so much. But you have invoice, I give you more. Something like that lah. You create the game lah. You look at the situation, you just create the game to beat other people so that people come to you. Okay, you look at the game, man. If you then let's say I give you a loan lah. I know you're going to get 10,000 in 1 week's time. But now you need some money, whatever lah. I say, okay lah, look at your track record lah, brother. I give you 2,000 lah. Nanti 2 weeks time, I know your money is coming in. I don't have your invoice though, but I know based on your track record, you will have some money. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you will see your money. I'll take back my 2,000. Okay? This 2,000, you don't have to ask me. I give to you. You want or not? You want, you take. Interest free. You nak ambil tak this 2,000 interest free? Kan? Why not kan? Okay. Then come 2 weeks, you receive back your 10,000. So I send you, then you bank in lah. You bank in into your e-wallet, 10,000. Then I tell you, bro, I take back my 2,000. Thank you very much. So I potong lah 2,000. So you get lah 8,000 left. And then I send you another notification, What do I say notification? I say, brother, I am running a bank. I pun ada employee nak bagi gaji. Employee pun nak makan. I also have computers to pay. I have rental. I minta you donate sikit boleh tak? Can you donate me some money? Okay. So you contractor, you dapat 8,000, 10,000 now, tolak 2,000, 8,000. Next time you nak pinjam duit lagi dengan I. Alright. So, I create a point system pula. A star system. Tengok how much you willing to donate to me. Kalau I give you 2,000, you donate balik RM50, mamak ni kena kod lah. Dia ni 1 star cukup. Tapi kalau katakan you get 10,000, you bayar tu 8,000, dia ada 8,000 lagi balance. You sanggup donate to me RM200. Wah, member kamcing. I tolong dia, dia tolong I. I bagi you 2 star. 2 star means next time you still get the same. Kalau 1 star tu kurang sikit lain kali. I don't offer you so much. You pun kena ikut dengan I pun kena ikut dengan you lah. Kalau kata you bagi lebih, sampai katakan 1,000 ke, unexpected lah, you bagi banyak sangat. I give you 3 star. 3 star maybe next time, Katakan 2 star, you tak boleh apply tu loan. I tak ada application. Tapi kalau 3 star, you boleh apply loan. So 2 star, you tunggulah until I predict. I predict you tak ada duit, then I offer you. But you cannot ask from me. Kalau 3 star, tiba-tiba you land into something yang unpredicted. Okay? You can apply from me. So orang nak 3 star. So orang pun bagi derma lebih sikit because they want to be a 3 star. And then ada 4 star pula. 4 star katakan you boleh bayar 2 kali. Kalau yang lain tu you boleh ambil satu loan sekali je. Okay, selagi you tak bayar, you cannot take another loan. Tapi kalau you 4 star, you boleh dapat 2 loan. You boleh pakai satu, simpan satu standby. Something like that. 5 star mungkin you dapat 2-3 loan ke, something like that. And then you boleh makan free lagi. If you get a lot of customers, a lot of restaurants apa semua nak introduce new menu, apa benda lah. Pizza, kita ada baru punya pizza. Pizza apa benda. Okay, datang kat bank kita pun ramai customer. You bagi 1,000 free, I pun bagi-bagi to my 5 star punya people. Okay, so imagine katakan you donate to me RM200. I loan to you RM2,000. You donate to me RM200. Your loan is 2 weeks. Okay, that is 10% though. 10% in 2 weeks. In 1 year, there are 26 2 weeks times 10%. 260% donation. This is not interest. You nak bagi-bagi lah. You tak nak sudah. Tapi you kena dekut dengan I lagi lah. Apa kena dekut dengan you. Itu lah cerita dia. Something like that. So you see that is the game now. So if you think about insurance, how can you do this for insurance? Factoring ke apa, whatever lah. You just think. Come out with a game. So this is what I mean by we have to create game. And our game must be good so that other people tak boleh lawan. And we have to always play new game. Pasal orang lain pun create game, kita pun kita lawan balik. Orang kena create game. So this kind of running a business, the new digital world of running a business, this is what we need to train our people. Macam mana nak fikir game. Macam nak think creatively. Macam nak test the market. Ada metodologi dia. You create a game, you shock sendiri. You tak test lagi dengan orang. Macam mana you nak tahu your game ni boleh run tak? How can you test without incurring too much expenses pasal tersilap buat, for example. Ada metodologi. You can follow this way, you can follow that way. So that you tak tersilap buat. Masa you really launch, you tak rugi. So this kind of thing, I think UiTM can take the lead and train people. Okay, this is where you commercialize fintech. You remember, I come from a entrepreneur background. That's why I emphasize on this. So fin in fintech is more important than the tech in fintech. It's the fin that is very important. That's where you can make or break. Now we come to the technology. So all those just now that you saw, these are your areas of expertise. Again, don't become solutions looking for problem. You hear nowadays a lot of blockchain, for example. Unnecessary blockchain. Bukan semua benda kena pakai blockchain. You only use blockchain for certain where you can need to have that integrity. I don't think I need to explain to you lah blockchain. I'm sure you know what blockchain is apa semua. So blockchain is trustworthy. And then you can run smart contracts on blockchain. Smart contract is very important, for example, in agriculture. Agriculture smart contract very important pasal ramai orang sangat kena tipu. Kena tipu macam mana? Kita tanam tembikai. Member kata, don't worry, you tanam tembikai. Nanti keluar, I bayar you. Berapa lah? RM20 1 kilo ke? Dah berbuah tembikai tu, datang balik. Brother, sorry lah. Pasaran tak ada lah. Market tutup. I tak boleh beli RM20. Sorry ya, brother. You pun apa nak buat? Tembikai nak busuk lah. Janganlah macam tu, brother. Okay lah, I beli kat you RM10 lah. Boleh tak? Apa yang nak buat? You create smart contract, you create the legality, you put the lawyer in, apa semua, you come up with a solution. So it's not just technology tu, it's the lawyer. It's the macam-macam lah. You put together, become a solution. That's where you can use blockchain, for example, in smart contracts. Lagi satu, in agriculture, selalunya orang kita ni, kita buat mushroom, tapi kita tak boleh export the mushroom tu. Pasal apa? Buyer nak beli, tapi dia nak reliable source. Kalau buyer tu kata, I nak 2 kontena mushroom setiap bulan. You kena deliver 2 kontena. Jangan cerita mushroom I rosak ke, kena bersin jadi macam lain ke, jangan cerita. Dia nak 2 kontena, you have to deliver 2 kontena. So before dia beli from you, dia nak make sure dulu. Okay, you can create smart contract, you can consolidate a few mushroom punya growers, put together kat situ. Kan, using smart contracts. That solve the problem of individual punya ni. Sekarang pun boleh buat koperasi tapi susah. Because it takes a lot of manual effort. So when smart contract ni, you can automate the whole thing. Put it on the internet. Link everybody up. That sort of thing lah. But you have to create the solution. It's not just a technical solution. It's a legal solution. It's a banking solution. Semua lah you put together. Okay. Another one is identity. Identity is one technology that is very important in fintech. Pasal katakanlah for example kita pun sekarang dah malas nak pergi ATM. Okay, dekat rumah kita tu ada kedai. Like near my house there's a kedai. Kedai ni jual steak, tapi dia jual macam-macam. Dekat situ ada steak. Lepas tu ada gerai jual laksa perlis. Then ada yong tau fu. And then we also have mi Penang. And then we also have kebab. Macam-macam lah di situ. Nasi beringin. I also have never seen nasi beringin. Tengok situ makan memang sedap. So, tapi masalah dia, that kedai is in front of my house. Okay. ATM machine punyalah jauh. And then parking pun susah. So, I nak pergi ambil cash. Nak makan depan rumah. Nak beli rokok depan rumah pun nak kena pergi ambil cash. So, pakat-pakat dengan token tu, kita buatlah macam e-wallet to your kedai. Tapi bukan e-wallet lah. Buat buku 35. So, I just prepaid to him and then I just come and eat. Tapi orang lain tak buat. So, let's say for example, you can do that e-wallet untuk restoran saja. Okay? In anywhere. So, people don't have to go to ATM. Nak pergi depan rumah, nak beli rokok sikit ke apa ke semua. Okay, benda kecil-kecil ni just take from your e-wallet. Dan kedai tu ada banyak stall. So, dia melibatkan multiple party. Buatlah macam mana so that you can just say it's one kedai tapi stall tu supplier to you ke, you can avoid the licensing. Ada banyak cara apa semua. So, you can create that sort of solution. Tapi, nanti identity of the customer. Kalau you katakan ada kedai runcit pun ada e-wallet ke apa benda something like that, ada sistem, kedai restoran pun ada, lepas tu ni pun ada. You don't want to tell everybody where you live. You don't want to put your address everywhere. Nanti datang mamat tu apa ke, dia tengok kawan ni beli, wah, dia asyik-asyik beli minyak mahal-mahal, Daisy. Apa ni, minyak jagung, tak makan minyak kelapa sawit. Ini mesti orang kaya. You don't want that people to know where you live lah, apa benda semua. So, if you were to leave your address, you were to leave your IC number, leave your bank account number, everywhere, I'm sure you're not going to be happy. So, you can become an identity provider. So, like Google sekarang ni, kita sign up with Google sahaja satu, we can go anywhere. We can use the same Google punya passport tu so that we can get into other places. We also have Google Wallet. So, we can pay for games ke apa benda, Roblox ke apa benda, Roblox ke apa ke, semua pakai Google Wallet saja. So, that is where you control identity. And it's very specialized. I'm sure you know that security is number one in this kind of situation. So, it becomes a very specialized niche because you can control this and you can have the economies of scale in terms of setting up your infra yang orang lain tak boleh buat. Because you are focused only on this particular area, you can sell this service to other people at very cheap rate. So, identity is one technology that you should look at. Another area that you should look at is exchange. Ramai orang terlupa exchange ni. Exchange is very important so that you can do auction. Okay. For example, you can do auction of ni lah food chain. Ikan ke, sayur ke apa ke. Kenapa kena pergi pasar tani lagi sekarang in this current situation? Kan, you don't need pasar tani. That's very inefficient. Lori masuk pasar tani, punggah, letak kat situ. Then cabut lagi. Datang pula lori lain, parking pula, beli pilih-pilih, angkut pula naik troli, naik balik lori. Why not directly hantar? Kan, no need for pasar tani. Then, nak bidding dia, nak exchange apa semua, letak dekat situ. Orang boleh nampak harga. Tak payah pakai peraih-peraih dah. Macam LKIM dekat Kuantan tu. Turun bot, ada pula peraih kat bawah tu. Apa cerita? Kenapa ada peraih? Tak boleh ke mamat tu beli terus? The system is like that. Why? Create exchange so that people can just nampak transparent. Berapa harga ikan turun bot? Dekat Kuantan, dekat Batu Maung, dekat katakan Manjung ke apa ke. So, there's room tu for us to really do, tapi nobody is really driving this process. Everybody expect the government to do. Why not UiTM do? Kan? Tunjuk tera. UiTM memang budak tera-tera. Jenis jahat-jahat dia semua masa belajar dulu. You can do all this, you know. Memang very adventurous type of people. So another one is of course artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is a very important part of the technology behind fintech. Because, for example lah, I like to listen to YouTube music. I pay every month to listen to YouTube music. I also have choice. I can listen to the other apa semua lah. But I don't like them pasal dia punya recommendation tak kena dengan music yang I suka. Tapi YouTube music dia kena. For example kata I like to subscribe to Netflix. I tak suka yang lain-lain ni pasal dia punya recommendation tak kena. I buka Netflix je terus depan mata. Oh, wayang ni memang I suka wayang ni. YouTube pun buka aja video yang dia tunjuk memang video yang I suka. Kenapa kawan ni pun ada AI, kawan tu pun ada AI, tapi AI dia tak shock, tak kena dengan I. Yang AI ni bagus. Apa dia cakap memang kena dengan what I like. So AI as you know has a lot of architecture kan. Dia ada, even though you are talking about katakan deep learning, multiple layers of neural network, yet you boleh ada besar ujung sana, kecil kat tengah lah, bulat lah apa benda semua, besar kat tengah, kecil kat ujung. So many parameters that you can change. Your trigger mechanism nak pakai apa, your back propagation nak pakai apa semua. So that is one area that you can really do a lot of research, and especially I would implore you to do something where you can use AI to train AI. Pasal nak train AI ni banyak kerja. Banyak sangat kerja nak train AI. Whether it's a supervised model ke tak supervised model ke, banyak sangat kerja nak train AI. So UiTM should put together their brains and create the AI that can write another AI. Atau kalau tak boleh write pun, the AI that can train another AI. I'm sure that can be done. You know. So that's one research area that I really recommend lah. Lepas tu advanced analytics, of course not everything is AI. AI ni is when you have to do inference tu. The difference between AI and analytics, I'm sure some of you know, but for the rest of you who don't know, AI ni macam mana? Analytic ni macam mana? Analytic ni for example, kita tengok umur orang ni, dia ni kuat order makan. Dia suka order makan, every time dia order dia besar-besar. Dia tak order banyak kali tapi dia order besar-besar. Ini kalau orang yang tua. Kalau budak-budak dia suka order kecil-kecil. Contohnya itu analytic. You ada data, you boleh analyze the data. AI ni is all about inference. Okay. Daripada data tu kita tak tahu kawan tu gemuk ke kurus. Tapi kita nak recommend pada dia. Contohnya kata, contohlah, ini contoh je ya, kita kata. Kalau orang yang gemuk, dia tu kedekut. Kalau orang kurus, dia bukan kedekut. Kalau orang kurus ni dia suka warna hijau. Kalau orang kurus lelaki. Kalau orang gemuk tu dia bukan suka color, dia memang kedekut. Jadi kalau kita nak tunjuk pada orang gemuk ni, kita punya shopping mall, kita tunjuk barang yang ada diskaun. Dia suka benda-benda diskaun ni. Oh, bulan ni ada diskaun apa. Kalau orang yang kurus, laki-laki, dia suka barang hijau. You nak tunjuk kasut pun tunjukkan kasut hijau. Nak tunjuk tali pinggang, tunjuk tali pinggang hijau. Nak tunjuk file hijau. Baju hijau. Dia suka barang hijau. So your engine does that. Macam mana kita nak tahu kawan ni gemuk ke kurus? Dia tak tulis itu berapa berat kau. Kita tengok dia makan macam mana. Dia ni kuat makan. Lepas tu kita boleh predict macam tu. Dan kita check balik betul tak betul semua. Betul. Kita agak orang yang kuat makan ni mesti gemuk. Tengok dia pun kedekut. Betul lah. Siapa yang banyak order makan ni dia kedekut. Jadi macam tu. So kenapa orang order makan ni dia kedekut? Pasal mungkin dia gemuk. So that is called inference. Inference is AI punya area. Analytic ni is where you know tapi you just analyze macam tu. Okay. Then API. API is where you have a lot of technologies that you need to link together because it makes sense for you to just focus on certain area. Let's say for example you run a service, this one you can do. Actually semua you can get grants ke apa ke, you get together, you do a platform where you sell AI engine untuk orang. Different AI engine, different configuration. And you sell consultation pada orang. You sell training pada orang. But you only specialize in recommendation engine. Ataupun you create another engine untuk chatbot ke apa benda. You only specialize in that. I just bought a chatbot daripada India. A cloudnya chatbot. You run seumur hidup RM400. RM400 je you run seumur hidup. Tapi kalau dia dapat 1 million customer cukup lah. 400 million ringgit. Kan? So you can do that. You can just create a platform and just do. Okay. Look at the Indians. They are doing all that lah basically. Okay. Then you have value chain management because at the end you must remember the duit yang kita ada ni dia ada sing, dia ada kong tau. Dia ada head, dia ada tail. Dia tak boleh ada head, tak ada tail. Duit kita ni ada dua belah, sing dan kong. Satu belah is the monetary denomination. Berapa sen, berapa puluh sen, berapa semua. The real thing that the duit carry is the value yang masuk dalam duit tu. Kawan ni kerja 1 bulan, 8 jam 1 hari, tak pernah cuti. Kerja overtime. Duit dia tu is penat lelah dia, peluh dia, dia punya darah ke apa benda semua is in that money. So that is, I don't see supply chain as a supply chain. I see supply chain as a value chain. Okay. So this value chain is very important in fintech because we are talking about monetary flow. Tau. Money is the lifeblood of the entire economic system. Let me ask you, if somebody were to ask you, unfortunately there's not finance people here, what is the most important word in finance? What is the most important word in finance? So people can come up with a lot of things lah. Profit ke, ROI ke, apa ke. No, the most important word in finance is cash. Cash is the most important word in finance. Okay. So when you do fintech, you are actually jaga the flow of cash. Our fintech system is a national strategic asset tau. Macam kita punya electricity grid. Macam kita punya air punya pipe. Macam kita punya highway. It's a national strategic asset. And our fintech ni pun is where cash flows through our economy macam darah flow through our body. And we must jaga kita punya fintech tu because it's our national strategic asset. Bagi ke orang lain, orang boleh buat macam-macam kat kita. Okay, I tell you, there is 1.6 trillion ringgit in what they call M2 money supply. M2 money supply ni apa? Ini duit dalam poket kita. Duit dalam saving account kita. Duit saving account ni tak sangatlah kira deposit. Pasal apa? Dia turun naik. Macam duit dalam poket juga. Pergi ATM, tarik keluar apa semua. Duit dalam current account pun turun naik. So these three ni, current account, saving account dengan cash yang floating around in our economy ada berapa tu? Kita ni cakap budget berapa bilion. Duit yang floating ni ada 1.6 trillion ringgit. Yang dah di fintech kan hanya 15% dalam 250 bilion saja. Lagi 85% belum di fintech kan lagi. Alright? Kita semua ada simpan duit dalam bank. Tadi saya tanya tak ada siapa pun tak ada yang simpan duit dalam bank. Boleh ke kita semua apply loan sukati? Tak boleh. Ada yang tak boleh apply loan langsung pun ada. Alright? Duit kita tu. So, this is where the float money itu can be used untuk tolong peniaga-peniaga apa semua. Kan? Then, of course, the other part that is important for you is your channel lah to reach out your market. You have your market, but you need a channel to reach the market. The channel must be reliable. Kalau macam kata, for example, there's one of these lah, sewa-sewa kereta punya app ni. You nak masuk pun crash. Nak buat ni pun tak boleh. Nak link pada bank pun tak boleh bayar. Channel tak ada. You cannot run the business. You can have all sort of technology behind you, but you don't have a channel. So you have to also focus on your delivery channel. The app itself, dia punya gateway, dia punya whatever lah takes for the thing to be delivered. So these are the some of the areas of technology that will support the game of fintech. But again, I tell you, the technology ni banyak all over the world. Still, we hope that somebody will develop local technology. Pasal, like I said, a lot of fintech companies are in Malaysia, but majority, 90% of their employees are coming from outside, expatriate. Kenapa bukan orang kita yang buat ni? Close the gap and make sure orang kita boleh buat. Whatever it is, that should be your research lah. What does it take to close the gap apa semua? What does it take to teach people how to think creatively to play the fintech game? That sort of thing is what you need to do research lah. And fintech is a crowded playfield. It's crowded. Don't look at it today. Look at it as a dynamic punya game over 3 or 5 years. It's crowded. And there will be a concentration of power, just like in the internet. Power is concentrated in Google, concentrated in Apple, concentrated in Alibaba, concentrated in Amazon. Kita ingat internet ni democratize. Tak ada democratize. Lagi kaya lagi Apple tu. Lagi kaya lagi Amazon. Lagi kaya lagi Alibaba ni apa semua. And you know like Facebook boleh keluarkan undang-undang macam-macam. Macam dia tu negara. Facebook has 2.6 billion citizens. China ada 1.6 billion. China nak keluar dia punya digital yuan. US bengang. US bengang. US tak ada digital US. So, China nak keluar digital yuan. Facebook kata jangan takut. China only has 1.6 billion people. Kita ada 2.6 billion people all over the world. So, they came up with their own Libra. Dia punya digital currency. So everybody wants to do fintech. Facebook wants to do fintech. Google ada Google Wallet. Apple is a big fintech player tau. 10% of all electronic transaction all over the world go through Apple Pay. Kita tak perasan. Apple is a huge fintech player. That's why they are so cash rich. Alibaba wants to do fintech. TikTok pun nak apply digital banking license dekat apa ni Singapore. WeChat is a fintech player. So fintech is the place to look at, and since you are interested in fintech, I encourage it very much. And put together all your other things, your leadership lah, apa benda semua tu. And I can see that you have a lot of brains in there. AI apa semua ada orang kat situ. And ni baru Raub, belum lagi orang tempat lain. Just put it together, coordinate together, tie everything together, and UiTM become a force to be contented with in Malaysia. Kalau government tak nak buat, tak apa. Budak ITM boleh buat. That's my thought. Thank you very much. I'm open to question and answers. Ya, ya. Okay, I cannot remember all the 4 questions. I answer one by one. The first one, kat chat. Okay. Company requirement for student to be key. Okay, right. Number 1, the hottest language being used. Okay, it depends on what you want to ni. Fintech dia ada banyak area, banyak teknologi area, right? Kalau you talk about katakan dia punya technology components, most of them are written in back end dia is Java lah, Java and JavaScript lah. You know all those Node.js lah, apa benda semua tu, all those kind of stuff lah. That is the primary thing in the fintech. You can always look at, for example, demand for programmers. Ada banyaklah report on the internet tu, demand for programmers. But Python there's a huge demand for Python actually, and Python is not difficult to learn. Python ni is actually easier than basic tau. Zaman dulu-dulu orang belajar basic, yang Bill Gates boleh jadi kaya tu pasal dia tulis basic. Bukan dia yang creator of basic, tapi dia tulis basic juga untuk Microsoft. So dia boleh jadi kaya. Jadi apa ni, Python is even easier than basic. Okay. We should train our student to use Python. Python ada banyak library, NumPy lah, Pandas lah, apa benda semua. We are still, I notice ITM is still teaching our student pakai MATLAB. Sekarang orang tak pakai MATLAB dah. You can do conceptual ke apa benda, you can do on MATLAB pasal nak test konsep cepat. Tapi we should train our student to use NumPy, Python, NumPy instead of MATLAB, because that is what the industry is using. And we should really train our student to, instead of using MATLAB, to use NumPy. Okay, because nobody use MATLAB in dalam fintech ni payah. Unless you just want to prove a concept, you just want to do some matrix calculation ke apa ke, you use MATLAB. But the real gist of it is you use NumPy. So languages, to shortcut the answer, languages I would recommend is Java, JavaScript dengan Python. That's important lah. Python ni banyak library tu. Jangan ingat satu je. So Python dan Python NumPy lah, Python 2, Python apa semua. You have to learn all that. Based on what you want to do. And then of course, you also need, it's not just language, you also need to know the database data punya ni, data engineering. You need to know Hadoop, for your big data. Then you need to know yelah, all your relational data apa benda semua lah. There's a lot of things lah kat situ. Okay. Then Fintech in increasing B40 income economic sharing. Unfortunately, at the moment, Fintech, this is my own opinion, mungkin I salah. I don't feel that Fintech is really helping lah in that area. And the room for contribution besar. There's a huge room for contribution of Fintech to do all this. Tapi tak ada siapa yang menerajui benda ni. Ini pun satu lagi hal yang ITM boleh buat. Jom kita buat something like that. Tak payah tunggu orang lain buat. ITM sendiri boleh buat pasal ramai orang pandai-pandai. Johari Gani is my batch tau. Ex finance minister. Pergi jumpa dia, ajak. I pun boleh pergi jumpa dia kalau siapa nak ni. Let ITM be the lead if nobody else is doing, because the potential is there to democratize the economy using fintech. Tapi kita tak gunakan peluang yang ada ni untuk increase B40 income. Adalah orang cakap, kalau kita nak cakap, ada orang cakap you boleh ambil loan lah kat sana, fintech ada banyak loan lah apa semua ni. That is loan lah, and then interest pun tinggi. So I don't see that very much in terms of increasing B40 income lah. Another one you should ask about is risk management. B40 risk management. Insurance mahal. Kita insurance. Why not kita buat macam fintech ni jenis khairat. Murah je. Tak ada banyak frill. Tak ada lah, ada saving lah, ada itulah, ada inilah. Jadi benda tu mahal. Bank negara pun ada tulis satu paper. Dia boleh cari kat bank negara, dia tulis satu paper, dia cakap kat insurance company, weh, tak payahlah kau buat kau punya insurance tu melampau-lampau sangat. Buat simple insurance yang murah je. B40 ni tak ada insurance. Kalau mati, tak ada. Masuklah rumah anak yatim apa semua. Nobody is doing that. Okay? You can do that using fintech. Okay, what about the financial? Yes, yang ni betul. Fintech ni dia double-edged sword. Dia ada belah baik dan dia ada belah tak baik. It's just technology. Teknologi ni orang boleh pakai untuk kebaikan dan boleh pakai untuk keburukan. Dan memang betul. Memang, yalah, loan shark ke. Good example is crypto lah. Crypto ni nak menipu orang. Ada crypto yang betul, ada crypto yang menipu orang. So, these are new issues yang kita kena belajar how to handle. Yang ni law faculty lah, boleh pick up lah benda ni. A lot of new issues yang kita kena pick up in fintech. For example, AMLA, anti-money laundering. Dulu-dulu boleh kita buat audit cara-cara lama. Cek sana, cek sini, buat sampel apa semua. Sekarang ni dah terlalu besar transaction. Tengok Alibaba, satu hari 11 berapa? 20 billion, 30 billion US dia jual. Mana siapa nak audit yang tu? Buat satu hari punya transaction, nak audit 5 tahun. Baru siap. So you have to use AI untuk lawan AI. AI juga yang analyze big data to analyze big data. Macam tu lah, you use the technology lah. untuk ni. Tapi it's not foolproof lah. If you go to my Twitter, okay, I've got another one, my Twitter punya tadi. There are some cases you can read baru-baru ni, if I'm not mistaken, Ernst and Young apologize pasal dia orang tak tangkap satu something yang tak betul apa semua, they miss to identify that thing. So they apologize. So memang betul benda tu terjadi pasal benda ni benda baru. Dan kita kena kejar cepat-cepat, kita tak boleh kejar pakai kaki, kita kena kejar pakai kereta. So kita kejar pakai AI bagi data. We have to use technology to control technology. That's where the reg tech comes in. That regulatory tech kan. Those are areas that you can teach in your CS nya syllabus. You can do a CS pasal apa Harvard ke? I think Harvard lah. Harvard ada keluarkan fintech punya course. Mahal. Ya, nama pun Harvard kan. Dia ajar sikit-sikit dia ajar superficial je dah RM15,000. Why not ITM? ITM boleh ajar. Do fintech course. Tak payah dapat diploma 3 tahun. Ajar bagi dapat sertifikat dia pun ada orang nak masuk dekat. Ramai orang nak kena belajar pasal fintech. Polis nak kena belajar pasal fintech, custom nak belajar pasal fintech. Ramai orang nak belajar pasal fintech. So why not ITM buat those kind of short courses ke benda kan? Can you explain what is digital yuan? Yang ni senang je. Yuan duit Cina, yuan, renminbi. Tapi dia digital kan benda ni. Pasal apa? Dekat negara lain kita ada macam for example Bitcoin. Bitcoin nak jadi currency sendiri. Libra nak jadi currency sendiri for example. And others lah. Tapi dekat China tu government tu kata, alah daripada bagi orang lain buat digital currency, kita buat kita punya currency je jadi digital terus. So dia nak buat lah tu. This is called central bank currency tau. Where the central bank itself keluarkan currency. Baru-baru ni euro pun ada try. If I'm not mistaken dekat France. Dia nak buat digital euro. Testing dulu dekat France. Whether or not there's a possibility Malaysia pakai ni, I think Malaysia ni akan tunggu tengok orang lain lah dulu. That's our typical Malaysia. Kita tu buat dulu, kita tengok orang lain dulu apa jadi, dia terkantuk, dia terjatuh apa semua, baru kita buat sendiri. Lepas tu buat. So there may be a possibility, tapi I think by that time I pun dah meninggal dunia lah. Something like that lah. Okay? Yes. Tak ada benda. Thank you very much. Thank you for your invitation. Most welcome. Drive Malaysia untuk masuk ke IR4. Kenapa IR4 ni penting? Ya, kita tengok China ada satu plan tu yang selalu kita dengar tu, China punya Road and Belt punya plan. Belt and Road, BIR. Tapi yang orang tak dengar sangat ialah China ada satu lagi plan, nama dia Made in China 2025. Apa maksud Made in China 2025? Asalnya ialah China tak nak import lagi teknologi. Dia nak pakai teknologi sendiri. Handphone ke, telecommunication ke apa, dia nak pakai sendiri punya. So dia ada identify a few sector. Telecommunication, logistics, perkapalan, apa semua macam-macam. Logistik punya hal, supply chain, manufacturing. Yang ni semua teknologi dia nak pakai China teknologi. Itu niat asal. Dan dia pun start niat asal macam tu. Dia start dah since 2015 ke 2010 dia dah start benda ni. Memang pandai. Dia punya plan dia cantik dan dia ikut dia punya plan. Betul-betul dia ikut. Kita boleh follow. Tapi tengah-tengah perjalanan dia tukar tau dia matlamat dia. Yang asal dia initially they wanted to substitute exports. Later on what they did was they want to go and capture the global market. Because they became so good. Good example is their 5G punya initiative. 5G initiative, there's a consortium though that developed this 5G punya protocol, 5G definition. So China was inside that forum to train their engineers in this western punya technology. So dia duduk kat situ 5-6 tahun just to train their engineers. Then dia balik ke China. They pasal this technology ada a few leeways yang you can, there's still some leeway for you to redefine benda apa semua. They took that and they developed their own 5G yang sampai berperang-perang lah dengan Trump dulu sampai anak yang Huawei ni kena kidnap lah, masuk jail apa semua. That's all about 5G, remember not? That is how China became so dominant sampai kan US takut dengan dia. Kalau China ni loyal, US will not be bothered about them. Pasal they have that capability 5G tu yang sampai berperang sampai macam tu. Sampai it's basically a kidnap case lah. Dia ambil anak kawan tu, dia masukkan dalam jail. I don't know what happened to her now. Huawei punya presiden. Head. So this is what we pun nak buat ni. I can see dia MDEC pun nak launch kita untuk Fourth Industrial Revolution. Pasal kita nak latch on to this. Kan pasal China punya made in China semua is all about manufacturing, it's all about IR4. And Vietnam sekarang dah ada satu plan nama dia China Plus One. Apa maksud China Plus One? Vietnam will be the plus one. Meaning Vietnam will be the small little boy satellite punya nation yang akan tolong China supply benda kecil-kecil lah. Apa benda yang China tak buat tu, benda kecil-kecil tu tolak kita tolong buat kan. Of course China ni dia nak murah, dia bukan nak mahal, dia nak benda tu murah lah, macam dia penjual murah, dia pun nak supply pun murah. So kenalah automate, kenalah buat IR4, kena itu apa semua. So siapa yang dah pandai, macam contoh pandai nak buat barang dalam kelang, tak laku lah nanti robot yang buat. Kita kena pandai repair robot, pandai program. So that's where we need to suddenly turn around our economy and start to train our people to do things yang lain daripada yang dulu kita belajar. Termasuklah orang tua-tua. Pasal kalau nak cari makan, itulah cara dia. Unfortunately, this one I want to emphasize. Ramai orang tua tak faham lagi dan tak perasan lagi. Data scientist ni, orang tua yang bagus jadi data scientist. Sebab apa? Sebab you can read the data with your experience tau. Orang yang ada experience ni, dia bukan baca data yang ada depan dia. Dia baca data yang tak tertulis depan dia. Dia boleh baca, read in between the lines. Dia boleh macam bukan cakap besar. Contohnya I've spent so much time in accounting. You bagi I account, I boleh baca account tu macam buku cerita. Bukan saja apa yang tertulis, tapi apa yang tak tertulis dalam tu pun kita boleh baca. Pasal kita dah banyak sangat jumpa macam-macam case. Macam tu lah. So data scientist pun dia kalau tengok data, tapi tengok specialist dia punya area lah. Kalau kata kawan ni pandai pasal logistik, dia tengok data logistik, dia boleh baca benda yang macam-macam dia boleh baca from data. Dia punya interpretation of data tu masak. Okay. Contoh for example, ada satu Korea company ni, dia buat AI, dia analyse tunggang langgang apa semua. Dia nak tahu kenapa hujung setiap quarter sales naik. Punyalah tunggang langgang dia orang analyse. Kenapa hujung setiap quarter sales naik? Sebenarnya any experienced salesman tahu hujung quarter memanglah naik. Orang nak kejar quota. Orang nak kejar bonus. You dapat naik quarter tu, dapat boleh pergi ke Europe. Memang orang kejar hujung quarter. Tak payah nak analyse. Macam tu lah dia punya experience tu boleh tolong kita ni. So kita patut war-warkan benda ni pada orang-orang tua-tua yang mana mencari kerja apa semua tu. Belajar dengan ITM, short course ke apa ke, jadi data scientist. Bukan jadi data engineer. Engineer tolak kat engineer, memang susah yang tu. Data scientist je, you ambil data tu, you analyse. Interpret, pasal you dah ada pengalaman. So that is another way that ITM boleh tolong lah orang tua-tua ni. And 30% or 25% of our population is above 50 plus. Masih kena bekerja. Koperasi pesara. So we know lah. So 25% suku Malaysia ni yang perlukan yang dah 50 plus suku, not a small population. So that is also another place where ITM can contribute. Tak usah buat diploma, tak usah buat degree yang panjang-panjang. Buat short course dia boleh keluar, dia boleh buat kerja pun dah cukup lah. So that's what I want to say lah basically. I would urge ITM to listen back to this recording, brainstorm, come up with a plan macam mana ITM nak jadi leader dalam Malaysia ni in terms of fintech. Bukan setakat nak mengajar. Lead Malaysia into the digital transformation of Malaysia. Fintech is part of it. I really urge ITM to do that. Itu je lah. Thanks very much.